Are you ready to cozy up with some beautiful knitting projects this autumn? Join me as we explore the magic of early autumn knitting, perfect for both you and your little ones. Hey guys, I'm Dana and I'm coming to you from the woods of northern Illinois, and I'm here in my 1834 farmhouse sunroom knitting with you, and I thought we would have a chat about the joy of autumn knitting, early autumn knitting especially. There's a special feeling of knitting in autumn. I feel like even if you took a break from knitting all summer long or for any amount of time, when the changing leaves and cozy evenings start to roll in, I think those of us who are knitters very much desire to start knitting again, or if we already have been, to start or continue knitting more. So for me, I have the extra added fun part, and that is that this year I have two other people in my house who knit, and they knit with me, and that has been a lot of fun. And I taught them how to knit a little while ago. Now they are moving on to making things that I haven't had to start for them, and it's just been really joyful to have those cold times, cold evenings, cold Saturday mornings, and just I pick up my knitting and they join in, and I think that's so cool. There's something very Little Women-esque about that, where it's just a house full of girls chatting and knitting together, and so it's really fun. It's very bonding. So today in my early autumn knitting plans, I wanted to highlight one particular project that I'm working on for this, I guess, early October now. I cannot believe we're in October, but here we are. And that is a lace knit scarf project. So I'm actually not working on it here because I know that if I try to lace knit while I'm talking, I'm going to end up losing stitches or making no sense as I talk. So I don't have it on the needles going right now. This is just a placeholder project. It's just a garter stitch scarf that I'm working on with wool of the, no it's not actually, this is, I want to say this was Rowan pure worsted, and I don't think it's being sold anymore. I think this is discontinued, which makes me very sad because it's a very, very pretty light blue color. But the project I want to highlight today is my lace knit scarf. This is the Glacier Scarf by Darling, oh my goodness, I don't know what that was, by Darling J'adore. And this is how much I have of it so far. I'm absolutely loving knitting on this during those cold evenings that I was talking about. It's just very cute and relaxing and cozy, and I think I'm doing it right so far. I had to pull it out a few times at the beginning because I brought it with me on a knitting retreat full of snacking and driving around exploring places in Door County, Wisconsin, and I was a little distracted, so I wasn't able to follow it as well. But so far so good with the stitch counts. I've come to a few points where I was at 48 stitches instead of the 49, and so I just had to go back a couple rows, see what it is that I missed. It usually was one of these knitting two togethers or passing the stitch over, and so that is what I'm working on right now. I'm using size 8 needles. The bamboo clover takumi straight needles are size 8. And the yarn that I chose is actually a 100% wool. It's from Knit Picks, and it's just their bare yarn. I had gotten a whole bunch of these. I got worsted weight and I got fingering weight, and my goal was to dye them. However, in seeing the pattern, how it came out for Darling J'adore's scarf, I really, really liked the bare color. I really like how you can see all of the texture and things going on, and so I wanted something light like this, and I didn't have anything else in my stash, and so I wanted to use this for that, and I still have plenty of the other bare yarn left over, so when I get the motivation to dye some yarn, I can do that. But So far, this is the pattern. I think that the pattern calls to do 420, I want to say, inches, which I have to convert inches to feet here because I really want to make this long. And I've been knitting scarves, or my kids also have been knitting scarves, and I've been knitting scarves for them that are the same height as them. So if you hold it up, it reaches from feet to head. And I think that's a great length for scarves, and I really want to do that with this scarf for me. So I have to convert if I'm going to be adding some rows or not. I am 5'7", so I'm imagining that if it was written as 420 inches, that I probably will want to continue going a little bit more, but that is the plan for this. That's the yarn and needles that I'm using. I had cast this on a couple years ago using, I think it was a Pound of Love. Is that by Lion Brand? I don't remember, but it was a Pound of Love yarn, and it was stash yarn. It was like a light gray color, but it was just a plain gray. It didn't have any tweed or heather in it, which I really, really love for grays. And I ended up tearing it out because I didn't really like it. It kind of was just the yarn I had, and it wasn't what I wanted. And obviously what I wanted was to have it be this lighter color here. So far, really fun to work on. So I'm going to just scooch that back up here and admire it, and I'll work on it later. But like I said, can't chew gum and talk at the same time. So that's gonna wait right over here. And I will continue working on the scarf here. So I wanted to talk about autumn knitting and early autumn knitting in particular. And I found that it's kind of like people who are hunters, like my husband is a hunter. When October comes along, there's just something in you that is like, all right, this is our time. It's time to do the thing we love to do. And I think all of us start to feel that. For me, I start to feel it in about mid-September, because for us it's still actually not cold in mid-September, and actually today it's supposed to be like 70 or 72 degrees or something, so still not very chilly, not a good fall day quite yet. So I just recommend choosing projects that inspire you and creating that cozy knitting atmosphere, because one of these nights you're going to have the project that you're really excited to work on, and it's going to be an October Grinch night. If you've seen that movie, oh, please tell me you've seen that movie. It's Dr. Seuss's little known Halloween movie. It's called Halloween is Grinch Night. It's amazing. It's probably from like the 1960s or 1970s. Anyway, Grinch night, when those nights start to come and you're like, it's chilly and windy and spooky outside, you just want to create a cozy atmosphere inside to sit and knit. And I always liken it to doing a bubble bath. You could just jump into a hot bath or a lukewarm bath and call that a bath, or you could prep it and get bubbles and candles and a snack and some wine or something like that, and really have a nice restful experience. And you can do the same with your knitting. You could just sit and knit, or you could make it very cozy and get layers on and light some candles and get some apple cider heated up, things like that, and really make it a cozy knitting atmosphere. And then also, I think, especially since early autumn is so transitional in the weather, I think that celebrating the progress that we make, even if it's very small, is really important, because you might only knit a few rows because it's still pretty toasty out. And I think that's okay, because you're following the weather and the season more so than you are the calendar. So I think celebrating that, the little bit of progresses and wins that you have, are really good. Something that I did for the first time last month was to do a class at our library. It was an intermediate crocheting class, and I would call myself an intermediate crocheter. And we were crocheting these. I think it's supposed to be a teddy bear. I'm pretty sure that was the end result. Everybody either left with nothing completed or with just the head completed. I just had the head and some eyeballs, and so it just looks kind of funny. But what I loved was getting together with other crafters and just having some designated knitting time, or in this case, crocheting time. And kind of like with when you're going to be at home knitting yourself. Yes, you could always just knit and have that be your knitting time, or you can get together and make it a small little special event. And so that inspired me. I had so much fun, and it inspired me to go seek out some other opportunities to go knit with knitting groups at libraries, yarn shops, things like that. I don't live super close to any yarn shops, but our library is thinking about starting a club, and the library in the neighboring town to us does have a monthly club. So I am excited to try that, and sometimes those are hard to get to because if they fall on a weekday morning or afternoon, I am not able to attend those because my kids are with me. But if it's an evening, I think that's definitely doable, and I think it's so special and rewarding. And even though I'm an introvert, I always end up grateful for having gone. And it is easier to just stay at home and say, well, I've had a long day and I want to just relax at home and knit here. But it is always so rewarding when you go in and you knit with friends. So all in all that to say that I'm just trying to embrace the joy of early autumn knitting here. I think it really it enhances my creativity when I try to knit on things and make it a cozy experience instead of just, well, the calendar says it's knitting season, so I suppose I need to knit, but really following the natural rhythm of wanting to knit and making a moment of it, whether it's at home or being with other friends and knitting together. So please share with me your autumn knitting plans, early, mid, or late autumn knitting plans, and your projects that you're working on. Please share those with me in the comments. What are you planning to knit this fall? What have you already cast on? And let's inspire each other.